and he just shoves into you. So this is a really good recipe for success for you. Just river the nuts and have someone shove into you and call, and he shows the lower straight. So good for you. Good job with your flop c-bet. I like it. And the turn non-c-bet, you check behind and got to the river and got to see a card for free, where he might have shoved into you. So, and I actually think that was actually probably likely. So, good job. Okay, we're now going to get into some of the quote-unquote trouble hands. So ace king in the small blind, bunch of limpers, so you're making a big raise, and that's what I see. Good job. So if it was 40, 50, 60, I might have made this 70 cents. I tend to add 10 more cents when I'm in the small blind or even the big blind. I've got two people behind me. The 50 cents is a little on the small side, so I would have liked to see it 60, but probably 70 cents. So you get a fold there, and okay, so we get a limp shove. And this is something I've been seeing the last like 3 weeks at all the levels, like 100 no limit. I've been seeing it, and I've been seeing it with anything. I've made notes on people that I've seen it with aces, I've seen it with kings, I've seen it with ace queen, ace king, pocket eights. I don't know why people are doing this, especially with the really bad hands. There's some I've read some things about doing it with aces, but with ace king here, you're calling this. I don't think you can let this go. So that's what you do. He shows ace 10. Unbelievable. And unfortunately, he got real lucky on the flop there. Yeah, so, he sucked out. You made the right call. You made a good call. Your below EV graph will show that you got screwed, but don't think about this hand ever again, because you made the right play, and that's where the thinking stops. So good job. Good job on this hand. You made the right read. You made the tough call. Even though some people say, oh, it's not hard to get it in with ace-king pre-flop, but when you play a lot of full ring, you realize rarely do people get it in with worse than ace-king. So you did a great job here. Don't worry about this kind of thing. It'll happen. Okay, so now he's got ace-king in mid-position. Puts a nice raise out there and gets 3-bet. So when you're 3-bet with ace-king and you don't necessarily have reads on a guy, it's going to be kind of tough. You're going to want to 4-bet, but at these small, I guess people, I don't know. I guess I'm going in between 4-betting and just flatting behind here. But I don't mind a 4-bet. But if you 3-bet, you face a 3-bet, the guy's in position, it's going to be pretty tough to play it post-flop. But flatting's not bad. So looks like you just went ahead and shoved, which I don't like. I would have preferred a 4-bet. It would have told you immediately if you were ahead or if you were behind. If he calls, you're probably ahead or it's a flip. If he calls you here, you're definitely behind. So let's see what happens. He does call, and he shows aces. So a bit of a cooler, but you might have been able to get away with this if you had 4-bet and then he'd shoved. You could have put him on aces or kings or maybe queens. So keep that in mind for next time. And it kind of gets back to the other hand I was saying, where pretty much in full ring, you'll see people only stack off with aces, kings, maybe queens, and occasionally ace-king. Here we are again with ace-king. Early position. Makes that raise. I would have liked 50 cents again. 4 times the big blind plus 1. So to get a little tongue-tied, you get min 3-bet from a 58.25 with the 11% 3-bet. So you're definitely ahead of this guy's range. The fact that he didn't bet more should be a little bit of an indicator that he's probably pretty weak in doing this with like pocket tens or something. This guy limp calls the 3-bet, and I'm not putting him on anything. He's a 20/3. So I like just a raise or even a shove, putting, let's see, this guy's stack. He's pretty deep. Yeah, I think a raise to about $5 here would have been appropriate. And you bet 4. That's fine. This guy shoves himself all in. This guy gets out of the way. It's an immediate call. And you're in a coin flip situation against 9. So it's not bad. And it looks like you just didn't hit. So I like the play because he'll do something stupid like that with a lot of different hands. And you're ahead most of the time there. So I don't mind calling him as a half stack with ace king there. This time you have jacks, and we have a late limper short stacker, which is pretty ridiculous. So guy with a short stack limps in, okay. Another guy limps in, and you make it 50 cents. That definitely should have been bigger. 40, 50, 60, 70. So this should have been 70, especially with the guy behind here. So keep that in mind. Do the math right. Don't be afraid. You got a good hand. It's not great. It's pretty vulnerable. So you really do want to get heads up when you got jacks. You don't want to go multi-way. That guy limps in. He calls you. And you get another caller here and a fold. And the flop's pretty good for you. 6, 8, 9, two-tone. So with your jacks, you're probably pretty good. He checks, you c-bet, and let's see, how much did you c-bet? Almost a pot, which I like a lot. Certainly anyone with a 7 would be drawing with bad odds, or to the flush draw, so I think that's a good bet. And he min raises you here, and he's pretty much committing himself. He's got $3 and he puts in 3. I don't see why he doesn't do $3.05. So this is an insta call for you. You min raise, he calls, and he shows 8. So this is a cooler. He really was set mining, and I'm sure that's not what he was thinking he was doing, but this is what he was doing. Was set mining with terrible odds. Committed more than 10% of his stack, drawing worse to 11%. So you just got unlucky here. It doesn't look like you drew out on him, unfortunately, and he ends up with full house. So you did fine here. Just maybe a little bit more of a raise pre-flop, but I don't think that would have changed your destiny on this hand. Okay, so I think we got time for 1 or 2 more hands. Queen 3 suited in the big blind. This is usually just a hand we're dumping. He comes into you, and usually when someone does this, I raise. I don't let him get in there for free. So if I'm holding junk like 7 deuce offsuit or something like that, I'll check. But otherwise, I'm letting them pay a price to see the flop, and certainly taking an upper hand by showing some aggression pre-flop. But checking, okay. So you flop top pair. You don't have straight possibilities. So what he might be coming in with, who knows? It could be anything at this point. I mean, literally anything, with the exception of maybe like aces or something like that. But a 21-5 with a 0.4 aggression factor is the kind of idiot who might even come in with kings or aces or something like that. But chances are he's got just junk. So you're definitely betting this. The pot's 20 cents. Was not like you're fighting over much. He bets into you. This is a clear raise. You've got top pair. You don't want him drawing if he's on a hard draw. So I'd raise this to 60, and that's good. And he calls. The flush completes, and the bottom pair hits. So unfortunately for you, your top pair is, I mean, still probably good, but the bad news is that, if he had an 8, then he's ahead of you. If he had a flush, he's ahead of you. And I mean, there's still the remote possibility is Jack 9. So he checks. I'd tend to check this. And you lead out, which, I mean, it's not horrible. It's a tough call, but you'll definitely know if you're ahead or behind. If he calls, you're in trouble. And he does. And then the ace comes, and there's some merit here to betting, even though you don't have it. Yeah, he checks into you. Now, although I don't think he's getting away, there's a lot of situations where you'll find that if you bet 4 to a flush, the other guy will just fold instantly, no matter what he has. So you check behind, and he, oh God, he shows kings. So you gave it a good try, and you stopped at the river. But I would have checked turn and bet river, and that might have gotten him out. But keep in mind, it's just a really weird hand for someone to limp in the small blind with you with kings. So, anyways, good job. Looks like you're definitely playing tighter. You just took some beats here that will happen, and you're just going to have to get used to that. But otherwise, I thought you played a lot better. And this is Sean Gibson for tightpoker.com with our Custo tutorial project.